Hello and welcome everyone to another exciting edition of the 8-Bit Show. Woo! Whoa. Getting some feedback here. Hold on. Do you guys hear that?
Well, I didn't hear it.
Okay, good. We'll pretend like it never happened.
Okay.
Okay. Well, joining me is Two Littles 505.
Yep, that's me.
And CoffeeAndCorndogs.
Yep, that's me.
And yeah, today we got some things to talk about.
A lot. We've gone for 2 weeks. There's a lot.
Not even in 2 weeks, just the last few days have been. The weekend was filled with news.
There's 2 weeks though.
Yep.
It's been quite a watching people eat their own words type of couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It's been fun.
Tasty words.
Tasty words. Yeah. Let's see. So who wants to go first? Not Two Littles.
Doodles went first 3 weeks ago.
At least you got it right.
Oh, yes, I go.
I don't think it really matters.
Yeah, go for it.
I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so you shouldn't go first.
Obviously, mine doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, I got the new Hades game.
Mm-hmm.
Hades 2, Revenge of the Hades.
Ah.
This time you're breaking into hell.
That's good. That's good.
You play Hades' sister. Ladies.
Ladies. Perfect.
That's the character's name, right?
Yeah, that sounds appropriate.
That's not at all.
Been playing
That's
too.
not at all
Yeah.
the character. Have you?
You heard him confirm.
Andrew doesn't really like stories.
Is the story? Why?
Why? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. Like in the new Hades, very enjoyable. Let's see, 2 weeks. What did I do? Watched some movies. I started watching The Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, how's that?
The show that's been out for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good. It's good. It's good TV. I see why it was so popular. It's mostly really good, but boy, do I feel like. I mean, I don't know. I never read the novels or anything, so I don't know how like true the show is to the novels. But I feel like all of the world building is set up just so that they can have their one the one thing, so they can have their handmaids.
I see. Mm-hmm.
Where it's like the society is really stupid. Doesn't seem like it would actually function very well.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's fine. It's a story. The story's got to happen. So
yeah.
I guess if they want that one thing, they want.
Guess you can have the one thing.
Broodmare characters.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a very stupid society that would be into that. The show itself is good. It's just the world building that I don't really like. Like the world itself isn't very interesting or that well fleshed out.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not really the point of the show. So it's fine. It's a good show.
Okay.
I watched a Humane new like horror movie.
Oh.
Came out about like the like global warming gets really bad and we have like a huge climate crisis and everybody's starving to death. So the government starts like paying people to euthanize themselves.
Like paying their families?
Well, yeah, obviously, yeah.
Okay.
Like they're not gonna do anything with that money. But
Yeah.
they cut them. Yeah, they cut them like $500,000 to go to euthanize themselves.
Oh.
But a lot of people with like terminal illnesses and shit are all for it because they don't like care. Like you could be dying in a week anyway. But if you if you euthanize yourself today, then you get the check.
Right.
But the like older rich couple decides to do it. They invite all their kids over to like tell them that it's gonna happen, and then have them there for when it happens. But the wife gets cold feet and bails on the whole thing, and then the cold faceless organization they have doing these euthanasias don't care about like who it is. They're just like, no, we just need 2 bodies. So so like the rest of the family has to figure out like who's also gonna die. That's the big tension of the movie.
Okay.
It's like these like siblings deciding who's gonna make up the other body.
Or else they don't get the money. That's the whole thing, right? Like they just want the money.
Oh no, they have
to do it.
They have to do it, yeah.
Otherwise, they sign the contract.
Yeah, otherwise the people who are like doing the euthanasia will pick among the available people there.
Okay.
Pick somebody to not be alive anymore.
Okay.
So they well, I guess they don't have to pick, but
it's a choice.
If they don't pick now, then someone will be randomly selected among them to die.
Somebody's getting picked.
Someone's dying.
It was okay. It wasn't a great movie. It was an okay movie. It's fine. If you got a couple hours to kill, it's fine. It's a fine little thriller. About what you think is going to happen ends up happening. And it has very toothless commentary on like all of that stuff, actually. all of the stuff in the premise.
Okay.
But yeah, it's okay. We watched. Me and Two Littles watched Arcadia. Was that it? Is that the right thing? Arcadian. Which had a lot less Nicolas Cage in it than I thought it was going to. I was a little disappointed with the amount of Nick Cage in that movie.
You were disappointed.
Severely lacking, yeah.
Sorry.
It was advertised as him being in it, but it was okay.
It does seem like he's gonna be in it more through the trailers and the like movie poster. He's like front and center.
Yeah. Although I did
I thought it was a fun movie though.
I love the creature design in it. I thought it was like really good creature design. And I'll definitely praise the movie for that.
I like that they don't explain. Really cool. One of the things I liked about it is they're not explaining the world like over much. Like you don't get any like real exposition. You're never really entirely sure what led to like the end of the world disaster thing.
Yeah,
and they don't
there's like some creepy monsters running around at night. That's all you need to know. Yeah, it was okay. Needed more Nick Cage.
Yeah,
I thought it was pretty fun, and the boys did really good. Like,
yeah, I thought
even though
everyone else did really well in it. Yeah,
even though it wasn't like a full out like it's not a Nick Cage movie, as in Nick Cage being Nick Cage for
definitely
an
not.
hour and a half.
Well, he's not even really like in the movie after the first act.
Yeah, and he's a lot more like I don't know, down to earth in it.
Subdued.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. It's not Crazy Cage.
Yeah, that's okay. I like that too.
A little disappointed, but yeah, it's nice to see him doing stuff that isn't just Crazy Cage.
Yeah.
I guess if you're into that stuff.
Next time, leave me out of it. Is all I know.
I don't know. Lord of War is one of my favorite movies, and he's not super crazy in there. He's a nice blend.
Lord of War is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good one. Did you hear that they're making a second one?
Oh, really?
Oh,
Apparently.
wait, Jared Leto dies in that first one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Okay,
think he'll be
good.
back. Nick Cage is back.
We'll see.
So much care for Jared Leto, but I'd watch another Lord of War. Actually, I kind of like Jared Leto in that too. He's not unbelievable as
Jared Leto does
shit cokehead.
I think Jared Leto does just fine as like a supporting thing. Just don't let him be like lead.
It depends on like the character.
Or think
playing,
he's
but
gonna
yeah.
be lead.
Right.
I gave him the Joker, and he might have went a little too far, especially for the like bit role he had in it.
So other than that, there wasn't like too much. Oh well, I guess there was new Total War Warhammer DLC that came out.
I see we going hard on that, and
Yeah, I've been playing the crap out of that.
the new Rim World
And the new
DLC.
RimWorld DLC, yeah. And those have both been very fun.
Nice.
Far into the Rim World one, but
Yeah, the anomaly stuff's pretty cool. Although I'm sure it'll be like any other RimWorld stuff where like it's gonna take me forever to get through all of it. And then it'll be like, oh, look at this new mod. I'll try this out. throw away this like 100-hour colony that I was working on so I can test out a new mod.
For the 100th time?
Yeah, yeah. Big RimWorld fan. That's been fun. The anomaly stuff's cool. To make an SCP foundation. Contain some anomalies.
What have you done? What have you played anymore? I know you played the dwarves for Warhammer. Did you do?
I played all the new lords. Yeah.
Ooh, I know you were excited about the Empires one, right?
Yeah.
How did that turn out?
Yeah, they're okay. I wish they made the gunners. I wish they made the gunners stronger than they made the gunners.
Sounds mildly disappointing.
Yeah, it was a little.
After
like trying them out, but I'd say it's fine. It's okay.
Yeah,
there'll still be some patches. You'll probably still get some decent.
Yeah. The new the other new stuff is really cool. I really like the dwarves, and I like the new Nurgle guy.
Nurgle are fun. I think the Nurgle.
Well, they made Nurgle just a lot funner from they like reworked how their infestations work. There's actually a lot of reworking of stuff with the new DLC that I like, but the infestation rework quite like nice. Honestly, yeah. People have been praising the new Warhammer DLC as like a return to form for the.
It's a good thing too, since like they went through a lot of little controversies there.
Yeah, the last couple of DLCs were pretty poorly received.
Yeah, and not just to the Warhammer itself, but like the Total War like franchise as a whole has gotten a lot of flack recently with like Pharaoh not doing good and some of their other historical ones not being well received.
Yeah, nobody's really liked their historical ones in quite a while. They've been struggling with those ones.
Yeah, well, they seem like glorified DLCs is like the biggest point I've seen.
Yeah, a lot of them are just like pretty low content. And then that was also the complaint about like the DLCs that they had for Total War Warhammer. It was like the new stuff was like less content than older DLCs had been, and they increased the price for it.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds right.
But this one they dropped the prices on them, and it's pretty. They're all meaty DLCs. They instead of doing a Lord pack, they just release them like piecemeal, so you can get your Lords a la carte.
You get what you want.
And
if you aren't interested
like
in all the content.
for $9 for per them, $9 piece, or you could get them in a bundle for less.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty good, pretty meaty DLC. Pretty cool new units for some of the factions, and new mechanics. And if you don't want to pay money on the DLC, there's a free LC Lord as well that came out. So just there's new content, even if you don't want to give them more money.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
I like that they do that. Even give something to the people who don't have the money for it and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, they've always been good about, at least with the Total War Warhammer stuff, they've always been good about, like, every time they put out a DLC, they also put out free LC. You can get other stuff.
Yeah, that's definitely always nice to see.
There's been times where I've been like, I don't know if I want like that DLC, but I'll go check out this like free. Go check out this free guy right now.
Right.
I think that's about it. I feel like I probably watched some other stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
like I rewatched Key and Peele. I'd watched Key and Peele in a while, so I rewatched that. That's not really anything important. Very funny show though, if you like sketch comedy.
Right. No,
like 10 years ago.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, they're both really funny.
Yeah, super funny guys.
And one of them turned out to be a pretty good horror movie director.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right out the gate. Yeah, he's got really accomplished. I quite like Nope.
Yeah,
I still haven't seen that.
It's good.
Yeah, I like all the movies that he's done. Really,
Mm-hmm.
Like it's Nope's a little bit different than the other ones, but
that's true.
I mean it's still very much so a horror movie, but I don't know. It's more like that elevated horror.
Yeah. Okay.
But pretty smart stuff. It's a good movie.
Two Littles? Do you want to take it next, or you want me to go?
Sure.
Oh, Two Littles went first 3 weeks ago.
That's true.
Thanks.
Just something we gotta keep in mind.
Yeah.
Always.
It is true. It is true. But I can go second this time.
I'm no with you.
I'm still gonna bitch about it.
Next week he's all gonna be like, I went second last week.
I've had I've done things in the couple weeks that we've been gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not too much as far as games goes. Although we're almost done with Resident Evil. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
We're almost done with the Resident Evil 4 remake.
Now, you said you hadn't beat the remake yet, right? This is your first run through.
Technically, we've passed where I have gotten to.
Gotcha.
The first time I played, I had just gotten to like the castle.
Oh, okay.
We're now we're well past that. We're almost past the castle bit.
Mm-hmm.
And moving on to like the lab and stuff. So yeah, I'm definitely to a point where I have not like played before, and they changed the story a little bit. seemingly all for the better on what I feel like. Ashley at one point attacks you. She gets like possessed by the spirit, by the Los Plagas thing, and she gets to a bit more interesting of a way for her to like have a moment to leave. One of the times when she like disappears from your side is right after that attack, which I think the first time she just gets like captured.
Yeah.
It's, whatever. Definitely more interesting now.
That's good.
So that's cool. I mean, not much on that one though. Still the same game. It's pretty fun. Not really much else in games except for recently I started playing Hades 2. Well, I started playing Hades 1. I was kind of just playing around on that.
Around chanting prayers for your victory and protection.
And then Hades 2 dropped.
How'd those work out for you, by the way?
And now I'm playing that.
Fine,
And,
thanks. And you're
loving this. Loving it. I think some of the new things that they've done
the Hound and Polecat must have
definitely
gone to scout.
make the game new and fresh, but still have all that like same interesting that like I don't know, that same like combat style and stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, where'd Hecuba and Garly scamper off to? I'd ask Headmistress, but she doesn't like it when I show her
I really like the main character
They're fine,
design.
Malinois.
And most of the artwork is pretty well done. I think they've done a bit more of an interesting story.
Scouting expedition at my own behest under the auspices
You're
of the
trying to
Good
head
Witch,
back
of course.
into
The Hound goes one way, the Polecat another.
Hades, because Kronos took it over, and you're gonna go put an end to Kronos.
He killed my daddy.
Those little scouting
Yeah, and you
expeditions
seem
always
to
seem
be
to
the
Where they're going, they shall
you seem
appreciate
to
seeing a friendly
be
face.
the last main guy's sister. So pretty cool. Some of the same characters are back.
sleep well.
But I look forward to seeing where it ends. Although it is pretty far along, I don't think it's going to go too much
Freenos, you're
farther.
here.
It's well polished for an early access
along.
game.
Yeah.
If you're ever worried about playing in early access, I don't think this is one of those you should have to worry about. It's great already. You can see where there's some like images pending and stuff. This keepsake trove that you can go to, where like you get different bonuses on your runs. Currently, they're all just a ring with a letter tag by it.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that those will at some point have a like actual asset.
Yeah.
But who knows? I could be wrong on that.
I mean, I feel like you're probably right. It looks really good though.
Yeah, I like the new weapons.
You have an animal.
Really good so far.
Thank you.
I've only played like it's only been out for like a day, but I've already put in like 7 hours or so.
Jeeps.
I went a little hard
I'll
on
get
it.
through
But
all
it's cool.
that gloom somehow.
Yeah, like I said, it looks great. So.
But most of my 2 weeks was filled like watching things.
Yeah.
I watched a handful of stuffs. Let's see, I wrote them down on a list because I actually watched a lot.
You actually had to write it down.
That's probably pretty smart.
Yep.
So I watched a couple movies. I watched this French movie called Infested. And it's like a spider horror movie. It's like this guy gets like a black market spider, and it ends up getting out, and it reproduces like insanely fast, and it infests this whole apartment complex
Counteract now.
within like the course of like a few hours, like a day
Wow.
at most. All the way way from like little tiny spiders to like near the end you see one that's like the size of like a large dog.
Never accept defeat.
Yeah.
Pretty good. All in French, so there's a bit of reading with it, but
Should work.
I quite enjoyed it.
This is my path.
I watched Totally Killer,
No
which
holding
was
back.
like a slasher movie, basically.
Mhm.
A pretty like childish one, definitely like a PG-13. Cool to have like teenagers watch it or whatever.
Yeah.
Early teens. It's about this this like killer comes back after like 30 years and kills this chick's mom, and it's chasing her, and she goes into this like photo booth that her friend turned into a time machine, and it actually works, and it takes her back in time.
Is her friend Doc Brown?
No, but there are some
Thunderous power.
Back to the Future references.
Yeah, that's good.
Plenty of actual like there is a lot of horror movie reference. Like it's definitely made for like the slasher fans.
Mhm.
Overall pretty fun, but she goes back and has to save her mom when she was in high school from like the original killings, because it was like her mom's friends that all got murdered.
I see.
And she has to go back and save her mom, and her mom ends up being like you know the high school bitch queen, like girl. So it has like a funny dynamic there that they deal with. It was pretty good. You know, maybe a 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 star rating there.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
Yeah, we watched Arcadian. We talked about that for a little bit. That was pretty fun. We just watched just today. I watched Abigail.
Been wanting to go see that.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It was fun.
Yeah, don't spoil anything for me, because I do want to see that one.
Spoil what?
I mean, there's not really much to spoil.
Yeah.
It's not some like deep story or anything.
Well, no, yeah, but I mean, I'm sure that's
Vampire
still.
ballerina kills like crazy. That's basically.
Yeah, you saw the
Yeah,
trailer.
yeah,
That's half the movie is like setting up what happens in the trailer. So.
All pretty good. There's a couple of the characters I didn't really care for at all, but it was still fun. It was a fun movie. I don't know, like great or anything, but good time overall. Also watched All Fun and Games, which was not a good horror movie, and I don't really recommend to anybody. It started out with an interesting premise. It's like this ghost wants to play games, and it'll haunt people and kill people while playing like childhood games.
Okay.
And like the first kill, like I guess like the first instance of that we see, they play Hangman. And this guy like is hanging somebody from a tree. He's our demon possessed dude, and they're playing Hangman, and like they ended up just hanging him. It's dumb. It was dumb. All the way to like becoming completely ridiculous. With at the end they start playing Red Rover. Which drags the other person, the person that you called, over to you, and so they do like a I must stab you moment, but they're like being slowly dragged over by the Red Rover rule. They had one good aspect of the whole thing, which probably should have just been the like movie in itself. is when they play flashlight tag. It has an interesting concept there. When they start playing the game, all the lights in the house go out, and they all find flashlights. But what happens when they get like in the light is it starts like burning their skin and like setting that part of the flesh on fire. And also freezes you because, you know, flashlight tag, you can't move.
Yeah.
When you're in the light. So it was kind of interesting for that, like maybe 10 minutes of the movie that they do that. And then it quickly falls apart. So not that great of a movie.
So it sounds like they tried, it just didn't deliver.
Yeah.
And then deliver.
The premise was something you could have done, but I've seen worse horror movies.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Oh yeah.
Just nothing I would really recommend. Nothing all that special about it.
Okay.
Or anything stand out.
Yeah.
I watched the new Netflix show Dead Boy Detectives, which is a Neil Gaiman comic set in the same world as the Sandman. Which was pretty good. Pretty good show. It's a nice, like, 8 episodes long, I think. And it tells the story pretty well. Has a lot of, like, much like if you've seen the Netflix Sandman, it has a lot of, like, visual shots that are clearly, like, comic book influenced. Where they take away a lot of, like, the background and leave, like, just what's happening in the scene in the forefront. Some cool shots like that and stuff. Overall, good characters. Fun little story about a couple of dead best friends who help ghosts move on by solving, like, mysteries for them.
Okay.
I told Sky to watch it because I know that she would love it, but I think if you enjoyed The Sandman, you'd probably like it as well. So pretty good on that front. And then I guess the last thing I really watched was I actually watched a couple other things, but Knuckles, the TV show Knuckles.
Yeah.
I watched that. I actually watched all of the Sonic movies and then I watched that, or watched both Sonic movies and then watched that.
Jeez.
Kind of glad I did. I hadn't seen the second Sonic movie yet, so I always meant to, and this seemed like a good reason to do it. And this is definitely like a continuation of that. The show felt more like a movie done in multiple parts. Although with a lot of fun. They clearly had a lot of fun making it. It felt a little bit like Tommy Boy and like Kingpin. In fact, has a lot of like references to old like 90s comedy movies like that. Including the obligatory like drug trip scene, which an entire episode is dedicated to, and ends up being like a rock opera episode.
Let's go, Homer.
Totally just throws things out the window. It's pretty great. What's his name? Why can't I think of his name? The guy from Princess Bride and Men in Tights.
Yeah. Yeah, I forget his name too.
In the name of hate.
That guy.
Who's always really funny.
Dave Chappelle. Well,
No.
not so funny lately, honestly.
No, that's not who I was thinking of. Although he is in a lot of Mel Brooks movies, right?
Dude, Dave Chappelle?
No. The guy I'm thinking of.
Mel Brooks.
Not Mel Brooks. Well, Mel
what
Brooks is, I guess, in a lot of Mel Brooks
is in
movies.
that movie and in a lot of Mel Brooks movies.
That's fair.
Lightning from on high.
Why can't I fucking think of his name? That's gonna drive me insane.
You can look it up, you know.
It's so far.
What? You're not sitting in front of a computer currently?
Apparently not.
But then I'd have to leave Hades.
Use your phone.
But then I'd have to like pull it
All right,
out.
then stop
it's right
complaining
next to
about
me
not
on the
knowing his
desk.
name. Pick one.
Must have moved on.
No.
No, but we all know who you're talking about.
Never. It was.
So who does he play?
He plays our main character's father. He plays a bowling like legend. What is it? Pistol Pete. Bowling legend Pistol Pete. The whole show. The synopsis is that Wyatt, the like deputy of the small town Green Hills that they're in, he's also in the movies. He's the idiot sheriff guy from the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Knuckles. Knuckles wants to train him to be a great warrior, and states that his battlefield is, the bowling lanes. So their goal is to go to Reno, Nevada, the greatest skyline in America, to win this bowling tournament so that Wyatt could be a great warrior. That's pretty much the sum gist of it. The whole time, this group of people are hunting down Knuckles, because, of course, that's basically the premise of both movies. It is people hunting Sonic, so the same thing. People just hunting Knuckles.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it has like the road trip feel of like Tommy Boy and whatnot, and like the silliness too. Like the characters are great, and we're definitely like a lot of them focus their inner Jim Carrey, because he's not in it.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey's not in it, but man, they really focused up their humor just to make sure, like, hey, we know he's not here, but we're funny.
I appreciate that. I appreciate them trying there.
And they did good. Honestly, they did good. The guy, the main guy who plays Wyatt, he's really silly, really funny. Obviously, it's a show that's more meant for like kids and families.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But it was super enjoyable and really cute. Everyone did a great job. Oh yeah, I watched Interview with the Vampire. Finally, after like 2 years of that being out.
Yep.
Which suckers, you guys had to wait 10 years. I don't. I only have to wait like another month for the next 6th season.
That is downright diabolical.
That's evil of me, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Very evil.
Yeah.
I like it.
And I finished the Mr. and Mrs. Smith TV show.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of been watching a lot of things, really. That's been where I'm at.
Nice. That's
What about
it.
you? Yeah, that was about it for me.
Well, let's see. For me, well, you know what? I guess I'll start with TV. So I'm on the 4th episode of Fallout. I know.
Nice.
I'm taking it slowly. This guy's been kind of on the fence of if she wants to watch it or not. and it sounded like she was gonna maybe try to watch it with Zoe, but they keep getting their plans delayed. So every time I talk to her about it, I'm like, all right, fine, I'll watch one more episode. So
I'm just gonna watch it, Dad.
Yeah, at this point, we'll see. But I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to turn into because I'm really liking it. I mean, I think there are parts of the humor that like don't hit for me. You know, it's a little too over the top at times.
They definitely try and go.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
and definitely in some more awkward ways too.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, it's kind
of hit and miss on the humor.
Yeah, I mean, but I felt that way about Fallout 4, which is the most of any Fallout game that I've played, so that's the only one I can really base anything on. But that being said, I'm still having fun. Like, it's not like all the humor is bad, because, you know, when I can't remember what the scene was exactly, what was going on, but I just remember thinking at the end, like, yeah, like this whole scene was just a setup for a joke that didn't land because you knew what the joke was and the delivery wasn't that great and it wasn't surprising, so it was just kind of lame. And that was the scene. That's the only reason for the scene, it felt like. But then like 5 minutes later, somebody cracks a joke and it was really funny, so
yeah, there were definitely some jokes that landed. It's fine.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I thought, it's not like amazing. I know Fallout fans are super excited about it and think it's like amazing, but it's not. Like, just viewed as a show, it's fine. It's not amazing, but it's fine.
Yeah. There's other problems with it too that I have. The pacing's a little weird up to this point. Like, it's not horrible, but
it's not gonna improve. I think
it's not improve.
They jump around a lot. I think they try to tell.
Yeah, and I don't
too many stories.
I don't mind that too much, but I actually gotta say, like, right now I'm more interested in the main girl. Like, I don't know why exactly. Like, I can't explain it. But I don't know.
I was more invested in what was going on in the vaults than I was.
Yeah, I was really curious about what was up with the vaults.
Yeah, so the last episode I just saw
that mystery about.
Yeah, they just started going back into the vault stuff. So now that does seem really interesting. So
I do have a tendency to get over invested in like clearly side stuff, though.
Yeah.
I did that with the Twisted Metal TV show as well.
Mm-hmm.
I got really invested in a side character. He made it too. Fucking Stu, man. Love Stu.
Oh, yeah, he was a good character though. Stu is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's fun. Like, bottom line is it's fun. I don't think it's trying to be anything that it shouldn't be. And I think it's a decent story for what's there. So let's see how it goes. But yeah, so far I'm
when
pretty happy
when the bar for video game adaptations to film are pretty low.
Well, I mean, and here's the thing too, is that, like, again, I have very little experience with Fallout. Like, honestly, most of my experience from Fallout is watching YouTube videos of all those like little side stories that go crazy.
The lore videos.
Yeah, because they're super interesting.
It really happened in Vault Blankety Blank.
Exactly.
Or listening to me and Killian.
Yeah.
Talk about it for like an hour and a half.
Craziest Vault Tech experiments.
Yeah,
me and Killian talking about different strategies on how we beat the game.
Number 5.
Yeah, and I mean, and when you guys talked about that, like, a lot of it just went over my head, you know, because like I had no idea what you're talking about. And I mean, I've only played, like, I want to say maybe like 10 hours of 4, you know, before I decided, oh, I want to go check out the building, and then I started building stuff, and I hated the game. So
that makes sense. That is the point to hate the game at. Yeah.
So yeah. Oh, I hated it so much. I just couldn't. It frustrated me. It frustrated me a lot. But anyways,
that whole island.
So that being said, it's like, I feel like I'm going at it from mostly a perspective of somebody who doesn't really know the franchise. Like, sure, I recognize things here and there, but I'm not like a huge fan of it. So, and that being said, I don't think you have to be like it's clear that there's a lot of fan service there and whatnot, but
there's a lot of levels of detail when it comes to their fan service, which is appreciated.
Yeah, but it's nothing that you need to know.
No.
Yeah,
and none of it's even there for like important story. Like, yeah, it's all like background stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So that's cool. I appreciate that.
Most of my favorite nods were like really small nods to things.
So yeah, I'm enjoying that. Next up, I've been watching From.
I haven't seen that. How are you finding that?
It's definitely a show that gets you thinking about, you want to solve the mystery. You want to know what exactly is going on. So trying to piece everything together that it gives you and figuring out what's a red herring, what isn't. Like it's definitely that sort of show, and it delivers. Yeah, so I'm really enjoying it. We're only like I think six episodes into the first season.
Nice.
And I think there's only 2 seasons out. Pretty sure
there is. Yeah, I just downloaded it recently, and that's all that was available. I mean, legally procured.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
For the cauldron.
But yeah, I've really been enjoying it. It's definitely a noodle scratcher. I have my own theories.
Down I go.
I don't know if any of them are true. But I think it's trying to. I mean, obviously it's yet to be seen, but I don't know if the whole religion aspect of it is gonna be like something that they actually do, or if it is a red herring. Because there's definitely that whole like
end of the world.
No, I mean, kind of like, but not really. It's not really end of the world. It's not like apocalyptic per se. But there's a lot of questions about life and death. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, wasn't there a movie?
Drown in it.
Nope, I don't think there was. Oh, there was another show though. I finished. I guess it's season 4 or 5 of What We Do in the Shadows. It's not the last season that just came out. So we're just heading into that one. With Angeli. That show, man. The season finale. Damn it.
That's some of Matt Berry at his best too.
Yeah, so that like it was super fun, and like it was actually kind of heartfelt too, and which is something that the show doesn't do very often, but when it does, it's like it's really good. So that was nice to see. So it is season 4. They're on their 5th season now, so I'll be watching season 5 here soon. Hopefully it's as good as the other one. So yeah, but I highly recommend that for if you like dumb comedy.
And Matt Berry.
Well, you had me at Matt Berry.
Have you gotten to Matt Berry's episode in Fallout? Where he plays Mr. Handy?
No, I have not.
Okay. Because he plays Mr. Handy.
Gotcha.
And he's fantastic. He's utterly fantastic.
Right? Yeah. And
like
now you
everything he
spoiled it.
What, that Matt Berry plays Mr. Handy?
Yeah, I had no idea. That would have been a great surprise.
You can see that on the IMDb page.
But I've never looked at the IMDb page before.
But he didn't spoil it though. Have you already have you already heard of Mr. Handy at this point?
I didn't know that it was played by him.
I mean, it's a pretty distinct voice.
Well, yeah, no, that's why it would have been a nice surprise.
That's like if H. John Benjamin was voicing something.
Yeah.
No, it's so big. I really don't care about spoilers.
Spoilers.
That's not really a spoiler.
I think that could be actually heavily considered as a spoiler by some people, like for sure.
Someone's gonna wear power armor.
Being a role. Someone playing a role.
Well, someone who's playing a role that wasn't like prominently featured anywhere in like the advertising material. I mean, it's
I don't really think that's a spoiler.
Just because you don't doesn't mean that other people won't. You know.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's not my fault that they're wrong. Just saying.
But yeah, so yeah, no, he's a joy though.
You wish to traipse through this realm and here.
I think the first thing that I ever saw him in was IT Crowd, right?
Old man.
And you showed me that. Pretty sure.
Probably
Yeah,
the first thing I
probably.
saw, man.
Yeah. I want to say that was probably the first thing I saw, man.
Got such a good voice.
Mm-hmm. There's somebody at the door. And let's see, video game wise, what have I been playing? Some more Oni. I've been playing that off and on here.
It's a good.
I'm actually like not doing not a super hardcore run, but it's like not on super easy mode. Because that's usually what I play. I just want to relax and let my dupes do their things and command them around like lemmings, right?
Most of the time, I'm playing most of those games on like an easier, peaceful setting.
Yeah. So
If they have it.
Yeah, so I wanted to see like, okay, can I actually keep them alive under like the normal setting? So I'm doing decent. We'll see how it goes. But yeah. And then playing through some more Breath of the Wild, exploring the Underdark still. Super fun. And what else? I think that's really it. Not much for me. So yeah.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, not too bad. I think you had the most fulfilling few weeks.
Yeah, I guess most of it was TV.
Yeah.
You get filled.
Most of it was TV. I started a new book after the 3-body problem.
Oh, yeah. What'd you start?
A new audio book. I started. It's called the Grave Song. And it's by Pirate Abba. It's same lady who does. Oh, I don't know. I keep assuming gender's there. I really don't know. The writer, same person who did the Wandering Inn series that I really like.
Mm-hmm.
And this is set in that like same universe.
Okay.
We're following this girl who gets transported to this magical land, and she's like a hardcore thespian. She wants to be like an actor and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so she ends up with skills related to that in this other world. She does singing and stuff. It's pretty good. Definitely a book for in my wheelhouse. At one point, she sings to this this ghost guy is following her around, and he's getting all down on himself and starts brooding. And she sings him the song from Hercules. What's the name of that song? The Right Where I Belong song.
Mm-hmm.
She starts singing that, and it breaks out into like a little song. And the person singing out or doing the audible book, Andrea Parsnow, she does really good, and she's actually like singing the bits and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty impressive. Like, it's cool. Pretty fun. Nothing.
Nice.
That's fun.
I just looked it up. It's called Go the Distance.
Go the distance. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I can go the distance till I find my hero's welcome.
That it?
That's it.
All right, let's do the news then.
The newsy news.
Yeah. That's just in? Over the telegram?
Yeah.
Yep.
Telegraph. Telephone. It's a tele something, that's for sure. Okay. Well, you have more news than I do. I only have a few bits. Most of what you posted, I saw and wanted to talk about too. Anyways, so.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the articles that I posted in the show notes were a lot of the same thing and just updates to a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we can start with, man, what a crazy couple weeks it has been, as like CEOs and companies have been forced to backtrack on things they say and do. Some of it to pretty good success. Other bits of it might have hurt the game forever. I guess the first one to come up was the Escape from Tarkov issue. Like a couple weeks ago at this point.
Mm-hmm.
When the Escape from Tarkov people announced a new DLC, basically, or a new premium edition. Either way, they wanted to charge people $250 for a new edition of Escape from Tarkov. This is after, of course, the $150 edition that they already had.
Yeah.
Promised all the DLC. Apparent that it wasn't right. When they noticed that this new one was going to allow access to the new mode, a PvE mode that's coming to Tarkov. Wait, I lost my article and everything.
Lost your damn mind.
Just trying to get stuff pulled up. And so people start calling it out, obviously, because the people who paid $150 were told that they'll get access to all, future DLC.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people were confused. There's also some other things and some more egregious things, I thought, in the $250 one. One of which was it would have had a permanent consistent server part. So whenever they do a server wipe and everyone starts again from the beginning, you would be like void from that.
Mm-hmm.
Your stuff would stay, and that seems like absurd to me. That is like huge pay to win mechanic,
right?
Anyways, they got into a whole bunch of stuff, and the CEO of that company, Battle States, I think. Or is
Battle State Games, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They doubled down on that the PvE game mode is not DLC. They're calling it a feature and not a DLC. And I was confused by that because I was pretty sure that DLC included, additional features and content. Hence the downloadable content. I think it was really dumb. It's super stupid. And I think a lot of people in that community have lost a lot of trust in Battle State. Afterwards, I saw a whole bunch of statements comparing it to Star Citizen, that game that's been on like Kickstarter and been worked on for like the past 20 years, it feels like. That definitely has like pay. I don't even know if you can call it pay to win. There's more like pay to pay more mechanics in that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're calling it like a scam, like they have been that game. Which is kind of unfortunate because like Tarkov is pretty fun. It's for what it is, it's pretty solid, but this was like a dumb move in general. But it blew up in their face. It blew up in their face pretty hard. And after about a week, plans went from like, this PvE mode is behind the $250 version to now the people who paid $150 will be getting it. It will just come out in like waves and when they have server access. So it'll be a little slower going. Which is fine, okay. But what I thought was funny is that now they've had to go and basically change what is offered in the $250 one, right?
Yeah,
because that was supposed to be that was you're supposed to get that, and now instead they don't even have like an idea of what that is. So currently, you're just getting like to be announced exclusive something. So
yeah,
like, really, you don't know whether that $100.
Here's the thing: is that I do kind of see their point. They like if you're investing a lot of time into something, and it's like a whole new mode of the game. Okay, maybe you can try to recoup some of that cost. If you're adding like, server specific bonuses, like that stuff that happens in MMOs, like it's not like unheard of or anything, but the way they did it, it's just so shady, because it's like, why are you going to do the whole like, oh, we're just going to do this and then ask for forgiveness later bullshit? Like, treat your goddamn customers like human beings.
And it's one thing that they touted it as like the PvE mode. And like a mode to me is like just another way to play that game, right? Where like they could have saved themselves a lot of trouble and been like, hey, it's $250, but now you get this new game we're also working on that's basically a PvE Tarkov, and done the same thing. Like, just made them like basically a separate game.
They could have. There's a lot of different ways that they could have done it. Like, honestly,
I mean, it might not have gone well for them either. Once people realized that it was just a copy of the game with PvE settings, probably wouldn't have been great at the end.
I mean, just announce it. Like, hey, like, here's a whole new mode. We worked really hard on this. We know that, like, we said DLC was going to be free, but this goes above and beyond what we considered when we first said that statement. Like, I think that would have been enough for a lot of fans to be like, okay, that's fair. Like,
I think a lot of people also didn't like the doubling down. Yeah,
exactly. Like, they took a situation that could have been just fine and just made it horrible. So,
well, they made it so much worse too. Like, they couldn't have made it worse.
Right? They knocked that one out of the park.
by doubling down everything. And what's funny is a little indie developer took advantage of this and released their game on Steam, which is basically Tarkov, an extraction shooter, a realistic first-person shooter game. They released theirs, and it got like, even though it's in like mixed reviews and stuff, it's gotten like pretty good sales and stuff off people leaving Escape from Tarkov.
Yep, that's the way to do it. Good for
because
them.
of course they are. Like, no one wants to.
Nope.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that people are idiots. Like, I just don't get how you can make a situation that you knew you were gonna have to tiptoe around anyways, and how they just made it that much worse. Like, they're geniuses, but not in the way that they need to be. They just know how to burn something to the ground completely. I'm sure they'll be fine overall, honestly. I think them backtracking, people are going to be okay with it in the end.
I have a feeling, so from what I've seen, a lot of people were still pretty upset and don't know like what to expect anymore.
Yeah, but I'm sure people are still going to play. Like, they didn't win any points, but in the end, like,
they're not going. They are going. I think they're not gonna experience like a game breaking or like game ruining.
Like, yeah, like not everyone's
players.
Exactly, yeah.
But I am curious to see like what number of players do end up staying gone.
Yeah,
from said thing.
I feel like in the end, it probably won't be. It won't be but a blip on them, on their radar.
Well, I mean, the game makes money by reselling accounts to like cheaters and hackers, so I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
They'll continue to make money that way.
Mm-hmm.
Which is one of the reasons that they've already gotten a little bit of flack.
Yeah.
Already from for being called scammers. Like before this whole incident, I knew a few people who thought Tarkov was a scam because of that alone. They were just selling accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know. I don't know how entirely fair that is, but
yeah. I got something here. So we got news today that the successor to the Switch is going to be announced sometime this fiscal year, which means the first quarter, by the end of the first quarter of next year. If I remember the way that Nintendo does their fiscal year. A lot of people seemed upset by this
during E3.
No, definitely won't be then.
Why? Because E3 is not happening.
Well, I mean, even around that time, even around the normal E3 time, because they did say that what was the direct words from the president of Nintendo? Let's see. So we will be holding a Nintendo Direct this June regarding the Nintendo Switch software lineup for the latter half of 2024. But please be aware that there will be no mention of the Nintendo Switch successor during that presentation.
Ooh, burn.
Yep. So, but I mean, they're admitting that it's coming soon. So, and I'm not sure why it was done this way, but I mean, the console's been out for 9 years. So I guess they decided they had to say something. But yeah.
I guess, I mean, it's been kind of like every year where someone's like, oh, the next one. Oh, the next one.
Yep. So, yeah, I guess I just finally had to say a little bit of something. So we'll see. I mean, all of the hardware has been rumors, but what's interesting is that if all of the news about what hardware is going to be included isn't going to be coming until next year, I mean, it still feels a little early. Unless they're going to drop it the same day that they announce it, which would be crazy. I don't think that's going to happen, though. Seems a little too much for Nintendo.
Yeah, I don't think they do that. Not with a console.
Yeah, no, not with a console. So yeah, the rumors about the hardware I think are gonna change, probably. Not necessarily, but probably.
Oh, we'll see.
Right.
In another great story about people having to take back their statements. Helldivers 2 experienced some quite a bit of drama over the last weekend.
Yeah, over the last 4 days.
Yeah.
I believe it was on Friday that it was announced, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was announced Friday that the grace period for not having a PSN count for Helldivers 2 would be ending. Although many PC players were unaware that this was actually in effect. It does say it on the Steam page, not very boldly, but it is there. And it's not the first game. Let's face it, it's not the first game to do this.
No.
But because of like a lot of the problems that they were having with the servers and stuff, they went ahead and waived it. Now, I don't remember that ever being really posted or talked about, that they were just waiving that for now.
I do remember that, actually.
But I don't, but that's fine. Like, the thing is that there is evidence that that PlayStation changed on their like on the PSN frequently asked questions page on their website on the same day that this was announced, changed the rules on that in the frequently asked questions on whether it would be a requirement for PC games to online experiences are like mandatory for it, something like that. I can't remember the exact quote.
Yeah,
but basically changed it from like it might be asked, kind of maybe, to will be every time it's an online game.
Yeah.
So that's kind of shady, but anyways.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like, is it needed? I personally hate any game that does that makes me sign into some stupid account.
Yeah, it's already annoying enough.
There's games that I will totally be like, all right, fine, I'll do it, you know? But like, look with Faith Farm, when their stupid servers went down, I couldn't play my fucking PC game. Like,
yeah,
it was fucking annoying.
I think it's really bad. I already get like irritated at that stuff, but like on my side, it is what it is. I already have a PlayStation, so at the end of that, it's like, okay, I already have the account. Like, yeah, I just have to link them. Not a big deal for me. But then Sony was okay with selling that game in countries that they knew that their accounts weren't like eligible in.
Right.
So now they've sold a whole bunch of games to like 177 other countries that they can now, with the implement of this rule, would not be able to play.
Yeah, that's the shitty part.
And that's like the huge, to me, that's like the biggest thing of like, yo,
for sure.
Fuck you, Sony. Like, what the fuck? This doesn't really affect me much in play. So, okay, whatever. But it does affect, like, especially in a game like that where we're all like vying together and working together to get things done. It feels like you're just wiping out like a whole bunch of our force.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
So to make sure to stop that, there was new major orders given to go ahead and review bomb and make it known that this was not okay. Yeah, we went from an overwhelmingly positive review score to I think overwhelmingly negative within like 24-hour time.
Yeah.
It was pretty drastic. So much so you had the CEO like tweeting out like, "Oh man," right in the review scores. This was also followed up with some people thought this guy might have gotten fired, but one of the community managers, I think his name was Spritz or Spitz.
Yeah, Spitz.
Was pretty candid about the whole thing. I mean, he even said like, "Oh," he pointed out the thing that like a whole bunch of games have done this. It's not that big of a deal. But he also went out and like stated, and this is where he might have almost gotten fired. He he put out the call like, hey, go review bomb this, go ask for your refunds. It gives us ammo when talking to Sony. And at the time, Arrowhead and Sony were in talks about how to fix this situation. But yeah, it remained constant, so much so that it was actually got off the list of places of those like 177 countries. The game was taken off of the Steam store page.
Yep.
It got all the way to that point, and just the other day, the Helldivers did it. They managed to do it, and Sony took back all their basically that. They're not going to be moving forward with the PSN requirement. Let me see. I did somewhere in here save that quote. Maybe.
Possibly. Riveting radio.
Yeah.
Dead air.
Dead air. Dead eyes. Did I really not save that?
Guess not.
Maybe it's in the newer one. Come on. Oh, whatever. PSN tweeted out they're reversing it. That's what they're not going to be asking for it. This does mean it's not necessarily quite over on that front. Like they might still ask for it later, but they are trying to figure out how to get a workaround with the 177 other countries.
Yeah.
So until they can figure out something with that, they're just going to backline it. This has led to something kind of silly from like the community itself. The CEO posted, "Hey, this would make a good cape design," and he posted the like review bombing graph from Steam in like a cape design, and it's kind of hit around, and we might actually get it as a cape at some point, which would be kind of silly to like immortalize something like that.
Yeah.
In the community itself. And now there's been a new like major order. It's been called upon for those who did go and like leave a negative review to change that negative review back since they did succeed.
Yeah, and not just the negative review for Helldivers, but for other Sony properties as well.
Yeah.
It was very pointed. they kind of called out their own community. Honestly, in that Reddit
No, there was
post.
a couple of things. I mean, even the CEO at one point during that whole thing was like, "Hey, look, I get like the review bombs on Helldivers 2 and stuff." But he's like, "I don't understand for Helldivers 1, which didn't require it, and was like on the PlayStation anyways. Like, like this isn't making any sense. Like, review the things." If you're gonna try and do this review bomb campaign, review the ones that are requiring it, right? Like,
yeah.
Make sure you're sticking to that thing, because a lot of them. I mean, Arrowhead. Even the CEO did say, at some point tweeted out that look, he shares in some of the blame of this. and it's fair. He does like more communication on what was going on that front. Probably would have been for the best. But either way, I think it's good when gamers can kind of win like this. Like this is kind of a big win for gamers.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Those negative reviews made like really help force the situation to Sony. Like, no, we're not gonna keep playing this. This isn't right.
Yeah, right. Like you don't want to go down as one of the out of nowhere games that's like best reviewed to absolutely nothing.
Huge success.
So I mean, like that's one of the things. Like picking the battle here is a great place to do it. But I think if anything, it does show that your voice can be heard, and you don't have to use money to do it. Like you don't have to withhold money. Like you've already bought it, right? So they already had your money. You just had to voice that.
No, boycotts don't work. But with games like, I don't think
boycotts don't work, but that's an overgeneralization. But I get what you mean.
Yeah, I guess it's the wallet hitting him in the wallet thing. Doesn't always work.
Yeah,
but
and many times not even in the way you intended. Things can happen.
But when like this was big, like it reached 200,000 negative reviews.
Yeah.
By the end of it, and yeah, that was a big sticking note to Sony. Like, yeah, it's clear we fucked up.
Yeah.
I mean, they said it in their tweet about it was like, we're still learning. They did, of course, all the PR management. We're still learning how to deal with our gamers on PC and how to incorporate them. When it comes to having like those different logins, I think it's been pointed out that there's some cool things that could happen. It's only and I agree with that. Like, having accounts linked means like, from my PC to my Xbox, I can have the same files. And stuff.
Yeah.
There's definitely some cool things there, but like a lot of times it's just being used as some like anti-piracy thing, and not really to like benefit us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's cool for us to fight back in little ways like this, and show that our we don't like it when you do things that are done like this and anti-consumer.
Speaking of gamers fighting back, so the 3DS and Wii U have seen the end of their online services about a month ago, but some people have stayed in game and continued to be quote unquote online. They're being dubbed the Crazy 8 of the Nintendo Network. And they have been in the game, in their respective games, for over 25 days now, beating out the Halo 2 fans who were known as the Noble 14, who stayed on the Halo 2 servers for 25 days, 1 hour and 58 minutes after they were shut down.
Wasn't that like one of the very first things we ever did a podcast? I swear we
on this. It's very possible. I remember.
I swear we talked about that.
Yeah, no, I remember talking about it. So, but yeah, that's cool. It's a new record. So congratulations to them, and we'll see how long it'll happen. Oh, actually, I didn't realize this. On Nintendo Life, apparently only 7 players remain. So they're calling them the Magnificent 7 now. But yeah, so
it's got to get down to the chosen one.
All right. So yeah, I thought that was fun.
Yeah, that's a good one. Let's see. I have other things as well. I swear I have other things.
Yeah, you do.
Limited games.
Yes.
A company known for selling old, like doing like physical editions, special editions of like games, old games. They've done a lot, and they've actually been like, I've heard of them like plenty of times before.
Yeah, no, there's been a few games that I wanted to get from them.
Yeah.
But of course I find out too late.
Yeah, usually that's where it's going on. They got into some trouble recently. When they did a release of the game D on the original 3DO game console. They went and put out a bunch of them. But a bunch of these 3DO games were found out that they were put on CDRs, CD recordables, instead of press discs. The shitty thing about that is they don't CDRs don't even work on the like original hardware, on real hardware. So it really can't be like, they really fucked up. Is the overall statement here. The yeah, it was just kind of in a bad overall state. They did release a pretty big apology.
Yeah,
that's quite long, and they're pledging to work with some new partners to find solutions to this. They didn't realize that they were going out in this company, or currently like this. And they also didn't realize some of the issues regarding compatibility.
Yeah.
And I think that's the one that kind of irritates me the most. They kind of like tattletaled on themselves. It's like, oh, we didn't realize we were going to get caught using CDR.
Well, I thought they said in that statement that they tested them and that it worked with their own devices.
It did, yeah.
And their manufacturer did the same thing.
It did say their official on that one was we tested the discs on 3DO consoles in our office, and all 5 discs of the game worked as expected. It was only upon shipping to our customers that we came to realize that some users were experiencing difficulty. We will not be selling or shipping future copies of this game or any future 3DO titles until the situation has been resolved.
I mean, here's the thing, like, doesn't matter if it's a press disc or not to me. I don't know. That's a good question.
I think it does.
I think for people who are like really into the collecting, yeah, I could see that being an issue.
And that's why I think it's an issue.
Yeah. Because
that's exactly what they tout themselves as being, is getting collectors. Like that's their market, is video game collectors.
That's fair. Yeah. You're right.
Limited run games. I mean, it's kind of in the title itself, right? I think it's fair that when I pay a premium on something, when I'm paying more than $60 for some of these limited releases, and they're coming in on a burned CDR, I would be kind of mad. I'd be kind of mad. It'd be one thing if you were charging me a cheaper price or whatever.
Yeah.
And I know ahead of time that's what is coming on it. Look, I've bought some shady movies and shit, right? Like, I bought that movie from my coworker who was like, "Come on, dude, I just need, I got these 7 movies for $5." Yeah, dude, go ahead, give them to me. Yeah, these are all CDR or DVD-R movies. Like, some of them are camera worthy. Like, man, I remember having like a Book of Eli that was so bad I couldn't even I didn't realize how good that movie looked until I've seen it for like the third or fourth time. Because of the copy I had was just awful. It was awful. Like still like sun bleached out. Everything kind of looked like shadows.
Wow, that's pretty bad.
Yeah. I thought that was like how the movie was supposed to look for a while.
You thought it was the style.
Yeah, I did. I really did. I was that dumb, but
yeah.
so that was pretty. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, it is.
Like I said, it'd be one thing if you were selling them for cheap. And
if they're fixing it, then at least they're fixing it. But shame on them.
Yeah.
Hopefully it teaches them to not, like, maybe look into things some more, be a little bit more upfront.
And kind of what seems to be a theme of this week a little bit. It's kind of like, yeah, it's much like our other stories, or like shooting their own self and like losing trust, like audience losing trust in.
Well, again, it's
people, because
like I said, it's the whole just do it and ask for forgiveness. Like,
yeah, that's the trust you got to worry about. Like now you've lost like people who might have been like return customers.
Yeah, right.
But now they're like, oh, but they're okay selling like games that were on CDR. Maybe not okay with it, but they clearly like tried. Like they knew it was that they were on CDR.
Mm-hmm.
That their apology doesn't say that they didn't know.
Yeah,
that they were done that way. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they knew. And like I said, when you're selling games at premiums like that and stuff like that, maybe a little bit more respect for your clientele's money is earned. Like it can't be that much more to do a press disc over a CDR.
That's not true. It's probably a lot more expensive to do a press disc. Honestly. I mean, when you have a limited run like that, it would be a lot cheaper to get some CDRs, because those are probably extremely cheap at this point.
Well, look, yeah, I mean, I can go pick them up from like, Best Buy or whatever.
Yeah, but
we're also talking about like a company. Like,
yeah, no, but I mean a press disc is that. I mean the time you rent from wherever your manufacturer is to do that.
Well, that's why it's limited run, right? Like
yeah.
It's supposed to work like the limited run T-shirts. Like you get enough people to do it, so then you do it at like that price.
Yeah, no. I mean, there should be a certain amount of them. You should get that package deal. I mean, we don't know the details of what exactly happened. Like, were there not just enough discs? Did they promise more sales than what they ordered? Like, there's a lot of details missing there. But I mean, typically the most expensive part of getting like something pressed, at least disc wise, is the fact that you have to get the parts changed for it. You have to create the master and then swap out the parts and calibrate and all that other good stuff. Like, once that's done and then you press however many discs you are, that's all profit there. But then if it has to be removed and then add back in, that costs a lot more money. So,
well, yeah, I mean, there's always things in the way. Point being is it kind of matches the other stories with companies losing trust.
Yeah.
Losing some of their trust value.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess not to wrap that up, because I know you got one more thing. That's well,
the new one that just came out.
The Ghost of
Tsushima. The new thing that just happened? Huh?
Are you talking about Ghost of Tsushima?
Oh no.
Yeah, so that got announced today that it will be requiring a PlayStation Network sign-on on PC. So it's going to be hitting on the 16th, and what's going to happen, I don't know, but the news around the whole thing is pretty bad, so we'll see if PSN goes back on this as well. But I don't think so. I think this one will probably stick. But keep in mind, Sucker Punch did also say that, the PSN account would be required to play the game's Legend multiplayer mode. That's it.
Yeah, from what I've heard is that the single player part will not require it.
Yeah.
Is it only required if you sign it, if you want to sign into the multiplayer?
Yeah.
For Ghost of Tsushima, specifically.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the concept there, is that it's like as in a way to be able to probably moderate and control like bans and blocks and all that stuff. Which is, that's something. Some games don't really need it that much, but whatever. Yeah. I get it. From a business standpoint, I guess I understand it to a degree. As long as you don't go sell it to like other countries, thinking that they'll be able to play in a couple months when you guys change your mind.
Right. That's all of the news that I have, though.
Okay.
That's separate from yours, so.
Yeah, I just got one more thing that pretty much just got brought up today. And I feel like it's important to talk about.
Yep.
It has been rough in the video game industry, jobs-wise, for a long time.
For a long time.
But the last year has been extremely bad. I mean, everyone talked about last year being like the worst for it. And this year has already been off on a breaking record for it. And we just got more on it today. Microsoft announces that it's closing 4 studios. Now, sometimes the stuff makes sense, like, oh, the studio hasn't put out anything like good or noteworthy or anything in a while, so yeah, okay. Unfortunately, these 4 studios, it doesn't really seem to be the same. They're closing 4 studios specifically from the like Bethesda end of it. You have Arcane Austin, who did Redfall, I believe.
Yes,
was the last one. Tango Games. No, and that's the one. That's like probably the one that people like. That I've seen more people being like, yeah, well, I kind of get it. Redfall failed.
Yeah, it didn't do too well.
But even that, I think, is just kind of a little outrageous. Tango's Games Workshop is another big one. Tango Games did The Evil Within, and most recently, Hi-Fi Rush, which was like great game, like objectively a good game, and did well. So that's like a big confusing one. Alpha Dog Games and Roundhouse Games are the other two. Those other 2 studios, I don't remember what those ones did.
I don't recall either. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, off the top of my head. And Roundhouse Games. Let me see what they did. I mean, and then we also got the merging with Bethesda, right?
Yeah, a couple studios aren't closing, but they're merging in with ZeniMax Online studios, or the ZeniMax teams. And we're not entirely sure at this point. We don't know numbers or anything, but it's very safe to say that a wave of layoffs is happening. There's a lot of unfortunate things being thrown around. Apparently, Arcane Austin, who was recently getting a little bit of flack because it's been a year for Redfall, and the people who paid for the DLC at launch, where hadn't yet received it.
Yeah.
And as of now, got an update that they will not be receiving it, and they can get a refund on it.
Oh, they're gonna give them a refund. Well,
there'll be their value. It will be compensated. So I'm pretty sure they're just gonna give that back in like wallet form.
Yeah,
possibly. In the very minimum.
I don't see anything like. I think Roundhouse Games just worked with a lot of companies. They did
fair.
Side work. So I don't know if they have anything directly to their own.
Roundhouse Games used to be Human Head Studios.
Yeah. But it looks like they're going to be part of the Elder Scrolls Online team. So now going forward.
Yeah. I think it's just absurd. Like, I get it. Redfall might not have been the big hit that it might have, should have been, could have been. But like Tango Workshop has been putting out some like pretty solid games. I mean, Evil Within games is fine. And the other thing here to keep in mind is that Xbox pushed for a whole like really trying to get to the Eastern market, right? Like, Xbox has always struggled in like Japan and stuff. Tango Games was their last and only Japanese studio. So I don't know if they're just saying never mind to that like whole like we want to appease to the East part.
There might be, yeah.
And they're saying, well, never mind, and we're just gonna cut that off here. Like,
well, they have great partnerships with other Japanese studios. So yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe it's not performing the way that they wanted it to.
It's just really, and see, that's kind of absurd too, because I mean, Tango Games, they just put out Hi-Fi Rush, which did great, as well as the Ghostwire Tokyo, and the Evil Within games.
Yep.
Like, those are all like good games that perform fairly well. Hi-Fi Rush extremely well. If you wanted Hi-Fi Rush to perform better, maybe you could have done some marketing for it. I don't know. Like,
I don't think it had to do with the performance of those games. Honestly, I think it's part of what you said and part of I mean, sure, it's Microsoft, so they have a lot of money, but I bet you there's somebody who looked at the amount of money that was spent and said, all right, you guys need to consolidate.
I find that so,
because this is the thing, this is what we see, is that these companies, they're spending way too much money on things that aren't panning out, and it's hurting even successful teams because they have to pick up the slack, and sometimes there isn't any more slack left to give. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what the story is behind it, and I don't think it has to do with, because those are big games, and I think Hi-Fi Rush did pretty well. I mean, if anything, it maybe didn't make a lot of money, but I bet you it was such a high positive feedback on that meant that it was a good sticking point for like, oh yeah, here's this other game though that you get on Game Pass.
I mean, that game made game of the like Game of the Year and awards.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think it even won a couple like sound awards.
So yeah,
so that's like this disappointing part. It's like a whole studio that like won awards this year has just been closed because it seemed like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's
bad
because
management.
Yeah, exactly, bad management. That's what it boils down to.
And it just sucks. It just sucks more and more to see all these developers keep losing their jobs at like just like record-breaking numbers. Like they can't catch a break at all.
Well, I mean, at this point, they haven't announced how many people will actually be out of a job.
True. We don't know numbers or anything, but it's definitely
they're
definitely a number of them will.
Yeah, more than likely, it'll be a good chunk of those teams, but at least some jobs will be saved. But again, I think it highlights that these companies, these publishers and developers, they need to watch what they're doing with their money. Can't just
Upper management needs to watch the heck out so that the lower people can stop having to pay for it.
Right? Yeah. So I don't know. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, and that just happened like today, which is just
right.
Brought down the mood today in most gaming circles, when we should be celebrating the release of Hades 2, because boy, is it pretty fun game.
Yep. I'm glad you guys are enjoying that.
That's pretty good.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess on that downer, call it there.
Yeah. You know how I like to end it.
Yep.
On heavy downers.
No, I do gotta go though, because my dog needs to go outside. She's doing her whiny dance.
That's fair enough. It's a good time to end it up and wrap it up for the 8-Bit Show.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We're here almost every Tuesday. Tuesday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And we stream on the Twitch and the YouTubes.
We're streaming games just about every day.
Yeah, so catch us for a variety of different games. So, I mean, tune in. You might like what you're watching. If you don't, tune in the next day. It'll be different.
I'll play Resident Evil tomorrow.
Yeah, good.
Which we're like 1 or 2 episodes away from the end.
Sweet. Sounds good. Well, again, thank you guys for joining. And be kind to yourselves. Be kind to one another. And we'll catch you next week. Love you. Bye.
Peace.